Hello everyone, welcome to Inconvenient Truths. I'm your host, Jennifer Zheng. Today we will talk about two topics. The first is some jaw-dropping insider information related to Xi Jinping's purge of the military over the past year, which can be described as a melodramatic show. The second topic is the latest changes and developments in official media's coverage of Xi Jinping, which includes some of my exclusive discoveries. So please make sure you stick around till the end. Over the past year or so, news of Xi's military purge has continued. And we have repeatedly reported such news accurately and ahead of other so-called mainstream English media outlets. At the end of last year, more than one English media news outlet reported that ousted former CCP Foreign Minister Qin Gang had been tortured to death. However, the communique of the recently concluded third plenary session of CCP said the plenary session decides to accept the resignation of Comrade Qin Gang and to remove him from the position as a member of the Central Committee. This communique shows that not only is Qin Gang not dead, but he has also even been retained as a comrade, a treatment that is so much better than that of the CCP's two former defense ministers, Wei Fenghe and Li Shangfu, who were expelled from the party and would be tried by a military court. Some say Xi Jinping even ordered to have Li Shangfu sentenced to death. Why is this so? This military was recently unraveled by former Peking University professor Yuan Hongbin. Yuan Hongbin said, according to his sources from the CCP's second-generation raids, Xi Jinping's sudden launch of a major purge after the 20th CCP Congress of top military officials promoted by Xi himself, such as Li Shangfu, Wei Fenghe, as well as the Rocket Force and the Strategic Support Forces, was due to three snitches. One of them was active and two were passive. The active informant was the secretary of Li Yuchao, a former commander of the Rocket Force. This secretary was originally placed by Xi Jinping at Li Yuchao's side to spy on him. So this secretary told Xi Jinping that Li Yuchao and Rocket Force Chief of Staff Sun Jinmin, the political commissar, and other senior Rocket Force officers privately and regularly spread dissatisfaction with Xi Jinping's strategy in the Taiwan Strait and politically showed extreme disloyalty to Xi Jinping. By the way, the communique of the CCP's third plenary session especially mentions that the session confirmed the CCP's earlier decision to expel Li Shangfu, Li Yuchao, and Sun Jinmin from the party. The second snitch was a passive one, Ju Gansheng, the former commander of the Strategic Support Forces. After he was implicated in the Li Yuchao case, and just after he had been investigated and before he had been subjected to any real punishment, Ju Gansheng confessed to a lot of things, saying that among a large group of senior technical officers in the strategic support forces with doctorates and master's degrees, there was a very strong dissatisfaction with Xi Jinping. These people also think These people also think that things were better during Deng Xiaoping's era, etc. As a result, the CCP's strategic support force was dismantled this April and split into three different forces: the Information Support Force, Cyberspace Force, and Aerospace Force. The third passive snitch, the most critical and deadly, was Qin Gang. The CCP's Ministry of National Defense is responsible to military diplomacy. Therefore, there was a close working interchange between the Ministry of National Defense and the CCP's Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The PLS General Armament Department is also specifically responsible for international military trade. Therefore, there is also a close working interchange between the PLS General Armament Department and the CCP's Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So between 2018 and 2019, during Qin Gang's tenure as Vice Foreign Minister, due to the working ties, a close personal relationship was established between Li Shangfu, who was also Minister of the PLS General Armaments Department, and Wei Fenghe, who was then the Minister of Defense. What Li Shangfu and Wei Fenghe did not expect was that Qin Gang, while appearing to be on friendly terms with them, secretly recorded some of their conversations with the most advanced covert recording equipment of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Qin Gang, Wei Fenghe, and Li Shangfu were all core members of Xi Jinping's inner circle and were considered Xi's trusted aides. However, there were also the so-called double-faced persons. While they flattered Xi Jinping to his face, they privately showed extreme contempt and dissatisfaction towards him. Among the charges listed against Wei Fenghe, one is termed disloyalty and betrayal. According to CCP insiders, the allegation against Wei Fenghe were mainly that he violated the CCP's so-called two safeguard principles and was disloyal to Xi Jinping. Wei Fenghe once privately told Qin Gang that it was unscientific to demand absolute loyalty to Xi Jinping. To demand absolute loyalty to oneself is a sign of extreme lack of self-confidence. Wei Fenghe also showed great admiration for Liu Yazhou, the political commissar of the former National Defense University, for his knowledge. Moreover, Wei Fenghe has close personal ties with Deng Xiaoping's son, Deng Pufang. Liu Yazhou is well known for his military theories. He basically opposed the thought of attacking Taiwan, saying that there was little chance for the CCP to win. So he was said to have been arrested as early as in December 2021. Recently, some Hong Kong media even reported that he would be sentenced to death with a 2-year reprieve. According to Yuan Hongbin, after the CCP's 20th National Congress and just after Qin Gang was promoted to foreign minister, he learned from his own network that his predecessor and now also his successor, Foreign Minister Wang Yi, had compiled the details of his affair with former Phonic TV host Fu Xiaotian, including having a child, and was preparing to report him. In such an emergency situation, Qin Gang did not hesitate to immediately hand over to Xi's wife, Peng Liyuan, the audio files of Wei Fenghe and Li Shangfu's conversation that he secretly recorded. Qin Gang also wrote a related report that it would be extremely dangerous and frightening to put important military power in the hands of two-faced people like Wei Fenghe and Li Shangfu. You know, Peng Liyuan is not only Xi Jinping's wife, but also a full-time member of the CCP Central Military Commission's Cadre Review and Selection Committee. So all the materials provided by Qin Gang triggered Xi Jinping's outrage and fear. So this is why he kicked off a major purge in the military. In my opinion, the above statement is mostly likely true. From what we can see, Qin Gang has obviously gained much better treatment than other purged CCP officials. This must be a reward for his so-called whistleblowing. So he was still able to retain his party membership and was spared jail time. There is even talk of him possibly being assigned to a less important role. The former commander of the Strategic Support Forces, Ju Gansheng, was also spared jail time because of his merit in reporting others. Yuan Hongbin also mentioned that Li Yuchao's former secretary, who made significant contributions by informing, has been exceptionally promoted to the CCP's Central Military Commission's Discipline Inspection Committee, where he now holds an important position. Yuan Hongbin also said that Xi's purge of the military has made the CCP officials feel fear for their lives, and everyone is afraid of saying anything now. High-ranking officials have learned a hard lesson from Qin Gang, who secretly recorded conversations with Li Shangfu and Wei Fenghe. It's now popular to have private conversations in writing. The so-called pen talk is a conversation between two people who only use pens and write on paper without making any sound. After the conversation is done, the two people need to destroy all that he or she has written in front of the other person, so no trace of their conversation is left whatsoever. Are you surprised? How long can a regime maintain its power when even high-level officials have to talk to each other like this? Now, let me give you some updates on Xi Jinping. In fact, after the third plenum, Xi only made 2 television appearances. One on the evening news report on the day of the closing of the third plenum, that is July 18th, and one was on July 20th when he paid a condolence visit to the Vietnam's embassy to pay his respects to Liu Hu-ren, the General Secretary of the Communist Party of Vietnam. These 2 television appearances seemed to clear up rumors that he had suffered a stroke at the third plenary session, and many people stopped mentioning the rumors. But on closer inspection, something is still not quite right. Let's compare. In August 2020, when former General Secretary of the Communist Party of Vietnam, Le Cai Phiu, passed away, the CCP only sent Yang Jiechi, director of the Office of the Central Foreign Affairs Commission, to the Vietnamese embassy in China to pay respects. CCTV only aired a 37-second news report. Also, Yang Jiechi only went 7 days after his death. In May 2019, when former Vietnamese President Le Duan passed away, the CCP only sent Liu Qibao, vice chairman of the National Committee of the Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference, to the Vietnamese embassy in China 12 days afterward to pay respects. Xinhua News Agency only published a one-line news report without any photos, and no video report from CCTV was found. In August 2018, when former General Secretary of the Communist Party of Vietnam, Du Mo, passed away, the CCP only sent Yang Jiechi to the Vietnamese embassy in China 5 days afterward to pay respects. CCTV aired a 38-second news report. So, compared to the previous practice, Xi Jinping went to express his condolence in such a hurry. It was only about 26 hours after the death of the Vietnamese leaders. The Vietnamese embassy in China might even have not had time to prepare everything. That is to say, when the previous 3 Vietnamese leaders died, it took 5 to 12 days for the CCP officials to go to offer condolence. And I think that's a normal time interval. But this time, they had to go there in such a hurry, as if the purpose of going was not to express condolences, but to dispel rumors. But strangely enough, after this rumor was dispelled, Xi Jinping never appeared on any occasion again. Yesterday, on July 25th, CCTV reported that when Xi Jinping presided over a meeting of the Standing Committee of the CCP's Politburo, but the 4.5-minute TV report did not show any footage of the meeting. They only displayed subtitles of the speech read by an announcer. In addition, I counted the number of articles about Xi Jinping on the front pages of the People's Daily in July as a percentage of all articles. And so you can see from these tables and these patterns, the trend appears to have changed significantly. After painstakingly check and counting the number of articles on the front page of the People's Daily for each day from July 1st to today, July 26, I found that percentage-wise, the proportion of articles about Xi Jinping dropped by as much as 47% after the third plenary session was held. If we exclude the results for July 19th, because there was only one article on that day about the third plenum being held and Xi Jinping presiding over it, then the percentage of articles about Xi Jinping dropped by as much as 73% after the third plenum was held. Should this big change in statistics tell us something? So from the changes in media coverage, I would conclude that the number of stories about Xi Jinping is decreasing, as accordingly, the number of stories about other leaders is increasing. In addition, we seem to have observed some changes in the CCP's recent diplomatic moves, as well as some unusual statements and movements on the internet. Due to time constraints, I will not list them all here. Therefore, it may be reasonable to conclude that if Xi Jinping is not having health problems, there can only be 2 reasons for this situation. One is that Xi Jinping was forced to surrender some of his power after or even before the third plenary session due to a backlash from other forces within the party. The other possibility is that the current situation is so bad that Xi doesn't want to take responsibility on his own, so he's intentionally reducing his visibility. All in all, it is clear that we are living in a time of change and turmoil. Whether it's the US, China, or other parts of the world, amazing events are happening one after another. So I suggest that anyone who hasn't followed me on X, please do so there. Sometimes things change so fast that I don't have time to do a video program and will update the information on X first. I also try to make posts in the community section on YouTube. So follow me on both platforms to make sure that you get the latest updates. Well, that's all for today. Please like this video and subscribe for more. Please also visit my website at jenniferzengblog.com to sign up for a membership or make a donation. Your support helps me continue sharing the inconvenient truths. Thank you. Have a nice weekend and see you next time.